Today I have prepared 4 scary stories for you. Enjoy listening. Share your opinion in the comments. The flickering candlelight danced across the dinner table, casting eerie shadows in the dimly lit room. It was our joint Valentine's and anniversary celebration, a night meant for love and laughter. But as the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere shifted, and a sense of foreboding filled the air. As I leaned in to kiss my beloved, a sudden knock at the door shattered the tranquility. Startled, we exchanged wary glances before cautiously making our way to answer it. With each step, my heart pounded in my chest, a drumbeat of apprehension echoing through the silence. Upon opening the door, we were met with darkness, save for the glint of moonlight reflecting off 2 sinister figures standing on the doorstep. Their presence sent a chill down my spine, and I instinctively reached for my partner's hand, seeking comfort in the face of uncertainty. "Who are you?" I demanded, my voice trembling with a mixture of fear and defiance. The intruders remained silent, their intentions masked behind menacing stares. With a sudden lurch forward, they forced their way into our rented accommodation, their shadows engulfing us in a cloak of dread. Inside the confines of our once serene sanctuary, chaos reigned supreme. The intruders prowled the rooms like hungry predators, their every movement a haunting echo of impending danger. As my partner and I huddled together, our hearts pounding in unison, we frantically searched for a means of escape. But the walls seemed to close in around us, trapping us in a nightmare from which there was no waking. Scary stories, I thought to myself, recalling tales of terror that once seemed so distant and unreal. But now, faced with a palpable threat before us, those stories took on a chilling new significance, their horrors mirrored in our own reality. With each passing moment, the tension in the air grew thicker, suffocating us with its suffocating embrace. And as the shadows danced mockingly across the walls, I couldn't help but wonder if we would ever escape the grasp of fear that held us captive. In the midst of our ordeal, time seemed to stretch endlessly, each second dragging on like an eternity. But amidst the chaos and confusion, one thing remained constant: our love. Clutching onto each other with a fierceness born of desperation, my partner and I found solace in the warmth of our embrace. Though the world around us was shrouded in darkness, our hearts burned bright with a love that refused to be extinguished. Scary stories, I realized, were not merely tales of horror and despair. They were also testaments to the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of unimaginable terror, love could still prevail. As we faced our fears together, our bond grew stronger, forging a connection that transcended the confines of our mortal existence. And though the shadows threatened to consume us whole, we refused to let them extinguish the light that burned within us. But even as our love sustained us, doubt crept insidiously into our hearts, sowing seeds of discord amidst the chaos. With each passing moment, the weight of uncertainty grew heavier, threatening to tear us apart from within. Scary stories, I realized, were not just tales of external threats, but also reflections of the darkness that lurked within us all. And as the intruders closed in around us, their malevolent presence casting long shadows across our fragile sanctuary, I couldn't help but wonder if we were strong enough to withstand the onslaught. Doubt gnawed at the edges of my sanity, whispering cruel taunts that echoed in the recesses of my mind. What if we couldn't escape? What if our love was not enough to save us? But in the depths of my despair, a voice, my partner's voice, cut through the darkness like a beacon of hope. "We will make it through this together," they whispered, their words a lifeline in a sea of uncertainty. As the night wore on, our ordeal reached its climax, the tension reaching a fever pitch as we stood on the brink of oblivion. But in that moment of reckoning, something shifted within me, a newfound resolve born of desperation and defiance. Scary stories, I realized, were not meant to paralyze us with fear, but to empower us to confront the unknown with courage and conviction. And so, with my partner's hand clasped tightly in mine, I stepped forward to meet our fate head-on. In the face of overwhelming odds, We refused to cower in the shadows, instead choosing to embrace the unknown with open arms. For in that moment of defiance, we discovered a strength within ourselves that we never knew existed, a strength forged in the crucible of adversity and tempered by the fires of love. And as we emerged from the darkness into the light of a new day, we knew that we had overcome not just the intruders who had threatened to destroy us, but also the shadows of doubt that had threatened to consume us from within. It was a stormy night when it happened. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows of my isolated cabin deep in the woods. I sat by the fireplace, lost in my thoughts, weaving tales of horror and suspense. Little did I know, real terror was about to knock on my door. Suddenly, there was a loud thud, followed by the creaking of the door. I froze in fear, my heart pounding in my chest. Who could be visiting me in the dead of night, in the midst of a raging storm? I cautiously made my way to the door, my hand trembling as I reached for the handle. With a deep breath, I flung it open, only to be met with darkness. For a moment, I thought it was just the wind playing tricks on me. But then, I heard voices, whispers echoing in the shadows. Panic surged through me as I realized I wasn't alone. Intruders had found their way into my sanctuary, and I was at their mercy. I stumbled backward, my heart racing as I tried to make sense of the situation. The intruders emerged from the darkness, their faces obscured by masks. They were armed and dangerous, their intentions unknown. "Who are you? What do you want?" I demanded, my voice trembling with fear, but they remained silent, their eyes gleaming with malice. Before I could react, they lunged forward, overpowering me with ease. I was bound and gagged, helpless to resist as they dragged me deeper into the shadows. Each step felt like a descent into madness, into a nightmare from which I couldn't wake up. Hours passed, maybe days, in that dark abyss. I lost track of time as fear consumed me, suffocating any shred of hope. The intruders taunted me, their words dripping with venom as they reveled in my torment. I was their prisoner, trapped in a living hell with no escape in sight. The days stretched into weeks, and still, I remained captive in the clutches of my tormentors. They subjected me to unspeakable horrors, each ordeal more terrifying than the last. They laughed as they inflicted pain upon me, relishing in my suffering. Every scream echoed off the walls of the chamber, a symphony of agony that reverberated through my very soul. But amidst the darkness, a flicker of defiance ignited within me. I refused to surrender to despair, to let fear consume me entirely. I bided my time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back against my captors. And when that moment finally came, I seized it with all the strength I could muster. With a surge of adrenaline, I broke free from my bonds, unleashing a fury born of desperation. The tables had turned, and now it was their turn to fear me. I hunted them down one by one, each encounter more harrowing than the last. They fought back with everything they had, but I was fueled by vengeance, unstoppable in my quest for justice. Blood stained the walls as the battle raged on, a brutal dance of life and death. I could feel their terror palpable in the air, their masks of cruelty crumbling in the face of my wrath. And then, finally, it was over. The last of my captors lay defeated at my feet, their reign of terror brought to a swift and decisive end. But as I stood amidst the wreckage of our confrontation, I realized that the horror was far from over. The scars of my ordeal ran deep, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurked within us all. In the aftermath of the ordeal, I returned to my cabin, forever changed by the horrors I had endured. But amidst the darkness, I found solace in the act of creation, weaving tales of survival and triumph in the face of adversity. With each word I wrote, I reclaimed a piece of myself, finding redemption in the shadows that once threatened to consume me. And though the scars would never fully heal, I emerged from the darkness stronger than ever before, for I had faced the true meaning of horror and emerged victorious, a survivor in a world haunted by fear. And as I looked to the stars above, I knew that no matter what darkness may come, I would always find the light within. I never imagined that a simple swipe on a dating app would lead me down such a dark and terrifying path. It all started innocently enough. Lonely nights spent scrolling through profiles, hoping to find someone to fill the void in my life. That's when I stumbled upon his profile. His picture was captivating, his bio intriguing. I hesitated for a moment. Then, with a quick swipe to the right, I entered into a world of horror. Our conversation started off light and casual, but as the days went by, I began to sense something off about him. There was an underlying darkness in his words, a chilling tone that sent shivers down my spine. Still, I brushed it off, convincing myself that I was just being paranoid. But then, one night, things took a turn for the worse. I had finally mustered up the courage to tell him that I wasn't interested in taking things any further. His response was immediate and violent. Angry messages flooded my inbox, each one more threatening than the last. I tried to block him, but he found a way to bypass my defenses. I felt like prey being hunted by a relentless predator. As the night wore on, I could hear the sound of footsteps outside my apartment. My heart raced as I peeked through the blinds, only to catch a glimpse of a shadowy figure lurking in the darkness. It was him. He had found me. Panic set in as I realized the danger I was in, but it was too late to escape. The predator had already caught his prey. Every moment felt like an eternity as I huddled in the corner of my dimly lit apartment, the sound of my own ragged breaths echoing in the silence. I knew I had to act fast if I wanted to survive this nightmarish ordeal. With trembling hands, I reached for my phone, desperately dialing 911. As I listened to the ominous sounds of footsteps drawing closer. The operator's voice was a lifeline in the darkness, soothing yet urgent as she instructed me to stay calm and remain hidden until help arrived. But even as I clung to her words like a drowning man to a life raft, I couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom that hung heavy in the air. Minutes stretched into hours as I waited, my nerves stretched to their breaking point. Every creak of the floorboards, every rustle of the curtains sent me into a state of heightened alertness, my senses on high alert for any sign of the predator's approach. And then, just when I thought I couldn't bear the suspense any longer, I heard the unmistakable sound of sirens wailing in the distance. Relief flooded through me like a tidal wave as I realized that help was finally on the way. But even as the sound drew nearer, I couldn't shake the feeling that this was far from over. The predator may have been driven off for now, but I knew in my heart that he would never stop hunting me. The police arrived in a flurry of flashing lights and urgent voices, their presence a bittersweet reminder that I was no longer alone in my fight against the darkness. They combed through every inch of my apartment, searching for clues that might lead them to the predator who had terrorized me for so long. But as they collected evidence and took statements, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled like a heavy fog over my mind. Despite their assurances that they would do everything in their power to catch him, I knew that the predator was still out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting for his next opportunity to strike. In the days that followed, I lived in a constant state of fear and paranoia, jumping at the slightest sound, constantly looking over my shoulder, convinced that he was watching me, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. Sleep became a distant memory as nightmares plagued my every waking moment, each one more terrifying than the last. But even in the midst of my terror, I refused to let myself be consumed by despair. With the support of friends and loved ones, I began to take back control of my life, installing security cameras, changing my phone number, and doing everything in my power to ensure that he could never hurt me again. And yet, despite my best efforts, I knew that the scars left behind by that chilling encounter would never fully heal. The memory of his face, twisted with rage, would haunt me for the rest of my days, a constant reminder of the horrors that lurked just beyond the screen. Weeks turned into months as I struggled to rebuild my shattered life, but no matter how hard I tried to move on, I couldn't shake the feeling that the predator was still out there, biding his time, waiting for the perfect moment to strike again. Determined to put an end to his reign of terror once and for all, I began my own investigation, scouring social media profiles and online forums in search of any clue that might lead me to his whereabouts. It was a dangerous game, a high-stakes gamble with my own safety on the line, but I was willing to do whatever it took to bring him to justice. And then, just when I was about to give up hope, I stumbled upon a lead that sent chills down my spine. A name whispered in hushed tones on the dark corners of the internet. A name that matched the face of the predator who had tormented me for so long. With newfound determination, I reached out to the authorities, armed with the evidence I had painstakingly gathered. They listened intently as I laid out my case, every detail etched into my memory like a scar. And when I was done, they promised me that they would do everything in their power to track him down and bring him to justice. But even as they set out on their hunt, I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that settled like a heavy weight in the pit of my stomach. The predator may have been on the run, but I knew that he would never stop hunting me, his twisted obsession driving him to seek me out no matter where I went. Months passed without any sign of the predator, his trail growing colder with each passing day. But just when I thought I was safe, he resurfaced, his presence a chilling reminder that the nightmare was far from over. Determined to confront him once and for all, I tracked him down to a remote cabin deep in the woods, his lair hidden from prying eyes. With the authorities by my side, I stormed the cabin, my heart pounding in my chest as we prepared for the final showdown. But as we burst through the door, we were met with an empty room, the air heavy with the scent of fear and desperation. The predator was nowhere to be found, his presence nothing more than a ghostly echo in the darkness. For a moment, I allowed myself to hope that maybe, just maybe, he had finally given up his twisted obsession. But as I turned to leave, a movement caught my eye, a shadowy figure lurking in the corner of the room. With a cry of rage, the predator lunged at me, his eyes burning with a mad intensity as he sought to claim me as his own. But I was ready for him, years of fear and torment fueling my determination to fight back. With a strength I never knew I possessed, I fought tooth and nail against my attacker, each blow fueled by the memories of all those who had fallen victim to his twisted desires. And when the dust finally settled, it was not I who lay broken and defeated on the ground, but the predator himself, his reign of terror finally brought to an end. As I stood over his prone form, battered but unbowed, I knew that I had won. The nightmare was finally over. The darkness banished once and for all. And as I walked away from that cabin, the sun rising on a new day, I knew that I would never again be afraid to swipe right. The night was heavy with the promise of impending horror as I stumbled upon the small town of Ravenwood. My car sputtered to a halt, and with no other options, I sought refuge in the only inn I could find. The air was thick with unease as I entered, and the innkeeper's eyes flickered with a silent warning. But desperate for shelter, I brushed aside my instincts and requested a room for the night. As I settled into the musty chamber, a chilling breeze whispered through the cracks in the walls, carrying with it an eerie sense of foreboding. Unable to shake the feeling of being watched, I peered out into the darkness, only to catch a glimpse of a figure lurking in the shadows. His eyes gleamed with an otherworldly intensity, and a shiver ran down my spine as I realized it was none other than Lanes, the mysterious individual rumored to haunt these cursed lands. Determined to uncover the truth behind the enigmatic Lanes, I embarked on a journey into the heart of the Whispering Woods, where legend had it he dwelled. The dense foliage seemed to pulse with a life of its own, and a sense of dread weighed heavy upon my soul as I delved deeper into the darkness. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the trees, beckoning me forth with a siren's call. Unable to resist, I followed the haunting melody until I stumbled upon a clearing bathed in moonlight. There, standing before me, was Lanes himself, his presence exuding an aura of malevolence that sent chills down my spine. With a wicked grin, he offered me a deal too enticing to refuse, promising wealth beyond my wildest dreams in exchange for a simple task. But as I reached out to accept, I felt a cold hand close around my heart, warning me of the horrors that awaited should I dare to tread further down this dark path. Haunted by the memory of Lane's sinister proposal, I found myself torn between the allure of untold riches and the fear of what lurked in the shadows. But as the days passed, desperation gnawed at my resolve, driving me to seek out the mysterious figure once more. Deep in the heart of Ravenwood, I stumbled upon a hidden alcove where Lanes awaited, his eyes ablaze with a hunger that sent a shiver down my spine. With a voice like silk and steel, he laid out his terms, tempting me with promises of power and prosperity beyond imagining. Unable to resist the allure of his offer, I succumbed to the darkness that enveloped me, sealing a Faustian bargain that would bind my fate to his for all eternity. But as I watched the ink dry upon the parchment, a chill swept through my soul, warning me of the horrors that awaited in the depths of the abyss. As the days turned to weeks, I found myself ensnared in a web of deceit and betrayal, as Lane's insidious influence spread like a cancer through the town of Ravenwood. The once peaceful streets now echoed with the screams of the damned, and a pall of darkness hung heavy over the land. Desperate to break free from his grasp, I sought out the help of those brave enough to defy his reign of terror. But with each passing day, I felt my sanity slipping away, as whispers of madness echoed in the recesses of my mind. Haunted by visions of the horrors that lurked in the shadows, I vowed to confront Lanes once and for all, even if it meant sacrificing everything I held dear. But as I stood before him, ready to face my fate, I realized the true toll of darkness was far greater than I could ever have imagined. With the town of Ravenwood teetering on the brink of oblivion, I knew that the time had come to confront Lanes and put an end to his reign of terror once and for all. Armed with nothing but my courage and conviction, I ventured into the heart of darkness, where he awaited, his eyes gleaming with malice. As our gazes met, a wave of fear washed over me, threatening to consume my very soul. But I stood my ground, steeling myself for the battle that lay ahead. With a roar of defiance, I charged forth, my heart pounding in my chest as I unleashed the full force of my fury upon him. But as the dust settled and the echoes of our clash faded into the night, I realized that victory had come at a cost too steep to bear. For in defeating Lanes, I had also unleashed a darkness that threatened to consume us all, leaving me to ponder whether the true horror lay within the depths of my own soul